to another Fight of the Night review. This is for the one that took place last night at UFC 285 between Shavkat Rakhmonov and Geoff Neal. It was at the T-Mobile Arena in Paradise, Nevada, and as always, I'm going to break this down round by round, bit by bit, bob by bob, as best as I can remember, which usually isn't much, so I'm likely going to skim over a lot of shit, but yeah, we'll just see where we get to when we reach the end of it. So yeah, let's go. We begin, as always, with round one, and at first it's not a lot happening. There is like one body attack from Rakhmonov, but it's mostly sort of a clinch game for the first minute-ish of the rounds, and then it starts to kick off pretty fast from there. So both men start opening up with some really powerful strikes. Geoff is the first one to properly start landing stuff. He's landing some really good stuff on Rakhmonov as Rakhmonov is coming in, countering his jab quite well. Although Rakhmonov, being the taller and much rangier man, is able to use his reach quite well. He's landing some really good body shots, but he's eating some nasty punches on the way in to meet Geoff, and he even gets stunned more than once, and not just in the entire fight. Like, he gets done more than once in this very round. So does Geoff as well, and it's just some pretty decent back and forth, really respectful back and forth too. There is a moment where Rakhmonov gets his mouthpiece knocked out, and with about 50 seconds left at the end of the round, there is like a 10-second dip where the timer keeps going, and I thought the timer stops whenever the referee was getting the mouthpiece. But yeah, I'm going to try and actually remember details from the fight. So Geoff landing a really good sequence of lefts and some really good left-right combos. His boxing combos were so accurate in round one. Rakhmonov was able to bounce back quite well. He was hit pretty badly, but he did manage to land some combos of his own, especially when he started going for some knees to the body, some really good front kicks up the middle. Landed a good head kick pretty early on in round one as well, and landed a couple of head kicks more. He was mixing things up a bit more to the head and body, was Rakhmonov, but Geoff was landing more to the head, and it looked like he was landing harder. But honestly, round one is pretty goddamn difficult to call. It's a very close round. I do edge it slightly in favour of Rakhmonov because he was mixing it up, but every time he looked like he was getting the upper hand, Geoff would just land a really fucking hard shot, and it would make Rakhmonov be in a bit of trouble. So besides like some clinch stuff in between, there wasn't many dips in the action. It was just a very fun first round. I'm sorry, I can't remember all the details. I literally just watched the fight, so, and like so much of it is just not sticking in my head. I'll likely remember it as I go further along. But yeah, round one, very, very close, giving it in favour to Rakhmonov. Round two is almost kind of the same. Also, I apologise if you hear a weird rumbling noise in the background. That is my cat eating food that I just put down for him. So, yeah, in round two, that's what that noise is. In round two, the two men are fighting. That is what they are doing. They're starting to sort of get a better feel for each other, and Rakhmonov is apparently one of those people that gets better as the fight goes along. I've never seen a full fight of his, but I know he's got like a ton of fight behind him. This is his 17th fight as well, following 16 fights before this was 16 finishes, and yeah, he just starts landing a little bit more, he's opening up a bit more, and he's a bit more aggressive. And one thing I forgot to mention in round one was after the referee, which was Abdeen, gave Rakhmonov his mouthpiece back, the moment he got out of the way for them to continue fighting, Rakhmonov did not waste any time going for a big right. He lands some really good shots in round two as well. He does sort of knock Geoff a bit loopy. Geoff is still landing his really good combos. He's still headhunting though, which I think is his problem. He's not mixing it up to the body like Rakhmonov is. Rakhmonov throws some amazing liver shots, amazing body kicks, amazing front kicks to the body. Doesn't teep up top a lot, which I kind of like. I kind of like that Rakhmonov is saving his kicks for the lower end, for the lower body, specifically the body, and his punches for the head, and it allows him to mix things up a bit more as well. He does hit Geoff with some pretty nasty looking stuff. He does initiate a clinch as well, which I found a bit weird. There's not really a lot of wrestling, I don't think there's even a single takedown throughout this entire fight, now that I think about it, but there is clinch work, and when Rakhmonov does have Geoff against the cage in the clinch, he does land some good couple of knees at the body. He does almost hit his groin, but he manages to hold himself back when he felt like he did it. He didn't. It was a completely safe shot, but still, credit to him for respecting that, because, you know, that kind of stuff really hurts. And yeah, again, bits of clinch against the cage, they didn't really last long. Rakhmonov was landing some really good shots, mixing it up really, really well. Starting to stun Geoff a bit more, but Geoff was still hanging in there and landing some really good counter shots too, especially when he was backed up against the cage. After a big shot, he would still counter and land some really good shit. But round two, again, slightly more in favour to Rakhmonov than round one. But still, again, very, very close round, and yeah, every time Geoff looked like he was on the back foot, he was able to come back strong in some really good ways. But still, round two goes to Rakhmonov. We then get to round three, and by this point, both guys kind of go hell for leather. Geoff Neal's corner know that he's sort of losing the fight, so they do try and tell him to pick it up and to stop, like, I think the word is chunking, where he's like loading up too much on his shots. I don't remember the term that they used, but it had chunk in it, and it was a weird term. I don't remember what it was actually called, but yeah, he actually starts landing some really good shit, and it even lands his biggest combo of the entire fight with a good left-right that knocks Rakhmonov down. And this is fairly early on in round 3 too, and they're sort of like, again, doing a little bit clinching but not much, and every time they do, Geoff is able to get out of it. Even though he was a smaller man, he was able to get out of the clinch a lot easier. It's a lot more easy if you're the taller person, which Rakhmonov is in this fight's case. Hello, buddy. So, with that in mind though, yeah, now the two going for it, they both land in really, really big shots. But again, Rakhmonov mixing it up to more places, lands a really good body shot, and it starts to like wear on Geoff Neal by the time round 2 is coming to an end. But in round 3, he's really starting to look out of puff. I think he even had a cut opened around like his right eye area, or maybe around his right cheek. I'm not really sure, but he was starting to bleed a little bit. It wasn't a massive cut, so happy that it wasn't anything major that stopped the fight. But yeah, he's weathering some really nasty stuff. He landed a really good punch, but the biggest moment comes when he's sort of guarding, and again, the defense of Rakhmonov especially is really great, but when Geoff Neal's guarding, Rakhmonov is able to slip and land a massive punch right through the pipe, knocks Neal back. Rakhmonov follows him, lands some really good strikes to follow up with. Geoff does start countering a little bit, but isn't able to get anything fully concrete off. Eventually, Rakhmonov manages to get behind Geoff, and in a standing position, gets a rear naked choke, and chokes Geoff out. Geoff does debate tapping, but he holds off because he thinks he can escape, but then he's just out. He's just choked out completely. And I do appreciate the fact that he didn't tap, although as much as it makes him look like more of a badass, it is a bit more risky for yourself. But yeah, about 4 minutes 17 seconds in round 3, Rakhmonov wins with a standing rear naked choke submission. So let's talk about it. I will admit the UFC has been on a really big hot streak in terms of fight of the night, especially those that are ending the final round. I do think this one had more dips in action than the previous two I covered, but I have no complaints about the winner. The main complaint I have about the fight, and it's not the clinches that made things a little bit slow at times, it's the fact that even though Geoff was able to come back and hit Rakhmonov with some big stuff, Rakhmonov didn't look like he was in a whole ton of trouble. Like, he was landing just really well, mixing it really well, being a lot more intelligent about it, whereas Geoff was headhunting a lot, and when he was able to land at the head, it yielded big results. But Rakhmonov was the much better fighter throughout the entire fight, and like there was a lot of really nice small moments that led to bigger ones, but those were mostly on Rakhmonov's behalf. Geoff didn't really have as many moments like that, and it felt a little bit one-sided. I think if it went the distance, it would have clearly gone to Rakhmonov anyway, but props to Geoff for hanging in there against such a hyped-up prospect, and yeah, this is still a very, very fucking good fight, so I recommend you go and seek it out for yourself. It's a maybe on if it'll pop up in my top 10 of the year. I really enjoyed a lot of moments of it, but I don't know, the thing of like Geoff not really able to fully put a lot together, especially considering that he finished for Sensei Luke in his last fight. I don't really know how to feel about that. Still, a good fight, definitely worth seeking out for yourself. Props to both these dudes for putting on a really fun contest at the end of the day. Really respectful one too, which I always appreciate. As for what's next from me, more streaming of the Let's Play Hi-Fi Rush. Yes, it is not Ori and the Blind Forest because Hi-Fi Rush is on Game Pass. I thought I'll strike while the iron's relatively hot, and I really like that game so far. Got 3 hours of it done. It's a lot of fun. Can't wait to do it more tonight, and it's going to be a really fun Let's Play. So I will see you all tonight for that, and next thing after that will be Music of the Week episode on Thursday, and then from Friday to Sunday next week, pretty much just streaming the Let's Play. There's no EFED weekly card for PPW versus AVW on Friday because we just had the pay-per-view this past Friday. However, I will put that pay-per-view up tomorrow night, Monday night, so yeah, I'll see you all for that, and for other shit in between, as always, thank you for watching, you're awesome, bye bye.